Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is convened in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey. Let the official minutes reflect that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by publishing a notice in the Asbury Park Press on Friday, January 8th, 2021. The Press of Atlantic City and the Star Ledger are also forwarded to the Toms River Times, Toms River Patch, and WOBM News on Wednesday, January 6th, 2021, and thereafter posting same on the Town Hall Bulletin Board for such notices and filing same with the Township Clerk pursuant to a resolution adopted by the Township Council on Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. The meeting dates have also been posted on the Township webpage. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Urick.
Here.
Councilman Kopp.
Here.
Councilman Lotano.
Here.
Councilman Roderick.
Here.
Councilman Turnbach.
Here.
Council Vice President Maruka.
Present.
Council President Gagan.
Here.
First item on the agenda, the approval of minutes from September 28, 2021.
Move the minutes.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Urick, second by Councilman Lotano. Councilwoman Urick.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Maruka.
Abstain, I did not attend.
Council President Gagan.
Yes.
For our honoring resolutions and presentations tonight, we have the National Friends of Libraries Week, the Greater Toms River Chamber of Commerce Award recipients. Number 1, Citizens of the Year, Joe Palmisano and Nick Pagano. Organization of the Year, Community Medical Center. Business Partner of the Year, Press Communications. Nonprofit of the Year, A Need We Feed. Groundbreaking Business of the Year, Sweetwater's Coffee and Tea. We have Eagle Scouts with us, Joshua Ryan, Daniel Brooksbank, It's Brooksbank, thank you. Aiden Yembo. We have Light Up NBC 2021, and we have the installation of Cantor Jacob Greenberg from Congregation B'nai Israel.
Move the honoring resolutions and presentations.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilwoman Urick. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Urick.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Maruka.
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes. Council, if you will. For National Library Week, the Township Council and the Mayor would like to honor you guys with this presentation. Whereas Friends of the Ocean County Library, Toms River branch raises money that enables our library to provide the resources for additional programming, such much needed equipment, support for our children, summer reading, and special events throughout the year end. And the work of the Friends highlight an ongoing basis the fact our library is the cornerstone of the community, providing opportunities for all to engage in the joy of lifelong learning, and that the Friends of the Library understand the critical importance of well-funded libraries and advocate to ensure that our library gets the resources it needs to provide a wide variety of services to all ages, including access to print, electronic materials, and expert assistance in research, readers, advisory, and children's services. Thank you very much, and we're honored to give you this proclamation. Would you like to say a few words?
So I'm
I'm a librarian at the Ocean County Library, and we just want to thank our friends today and every day, because we would not be where we are, we would not be able to provide the amount of services without their support. So thank you very much.
Greater Toms River Chamber of Commerce, those awards will be presented later at a later time by Councilman Turnbach at their luncheon that they have. Next up, we have the Eagle Scouts. Joshua Ryan. Come on up. Okay. It's quite an accomplishment. Become an Eagle Scout. You start out at a young age, and it gives you the life skills necessary to move on. I know many Eagle Scouts, they form lifelong friends, and 50 years later, you still, talk to and communicate with those that you went through this whole, process and training with. It really sets you up to be outstanding citizens of the community. If you want to give us a few words, what you did for your Eagle Scout project.
All right, I'm Josh Ryan, and for my Eagle Scout project, I'm sure you all have been to Iron State Park. There's a lot of green flies there. Very annoying. So for my project, I built some green fly traps. So hopefully that's going to reduce the amount of green flies at Iron State Park.
Very good. Well, I can appreciate that. Thank you.
All right.
So we have a proclamation for you. And here, turn around for the photo. Mom and Dad. Oh, hang on.
And you got a coin too.
Our next Eagle Scout presentation is to Daniel Roseback. Thank you. Again, proclamation on behalf of the Mayor and Council. We also have a challenge coin for you. If you want to explain to us what your project was that you did to help out the community.
My project was about fire hydrant awareness. If you probably know my dad, he's a part of the firefighter group where he does help the firefighters out in some missions by doing some funding and fundraisers. I was helping with one of them by doing some fire hydrant awareness. Basically, I was putting down some metallic sheets where I managed to put some symbol in order to make it easier for the firefighters to see in certain harder locations, and especially at night. It's supposed to be helping them in efficiency and recognition. It helps overall because they really needed some help in terms of certain positions because some of them were in very inconvenient spots.
All right, very good. Well, thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Oh, good. All righty, and last but certainly not least, Aiden Yembo. Come on. Thanks for coming. Yeah. Congratulations on achieving this. And again, we have a proclamation and challenge point on behalf of the council and mayor. And if you want to tell us a little bit about the project that you completed to help out the community.
Of course. So I'm in Yembo. My project was at the Elks Lodge in Toms River off Clifton. They provide a great deal of community and bonding for members of our community. So what I did for them is funded and constructed a freestanding wall to move some of their stuff, for lack of a better term. essentially so they could convert that room into a new place for people to bond over.
Okay, very good. Anybody here for breast cancer awareness? I'll have Councilwoman Hurek speak about that.
So a lot of people know October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that's for any breast cancer stages, and it's color pink represents the awareness ribbon. And so October 13th, though, is specifically for metastatic breast cancer awareness. So metastatic breast cancer has an average life expectancy of 26 months. So that's if someone's diagnosed with breast cancer and it's also in the lungs or the brain or the bone, distant metastases. So that's because the treatment, once it fails, there's no other options. So currently research dollars for stage 4 metastatic breast cancer are under 5% of the total money spent on breast cancer research annually. So Medivivers is an organization that was actually started by a metastatic breast cancer survivor that is beating the odds. She's been alive for 7 years after her diagnosis. And the goal is to raise awareness and funding for metastatic breast cancer research. And the goal is to bring that up to 30% of the breast cancer research funding annually from that 5%. And the colors are pink because the cancer originated in the breast, and then teal, which is representing healing and spirituality, and green for hope. So Light Up NBC is actually a way to raise awareness. They have buildings lit up in those 3 colors. Are we doing lights or just the digital board downstairs? We're doing one or the other or both. And Marin, for downtown, she actually got some lights, and we're going to light up downtown Toms River for metastatic breast cancer tomorrow, October 13th. So that's it.
Our last proclamation, which will be done at a later date, is for the installation of Cantor Jacob Greenberg to the congregation B'nai Israel. That'll be presented at his installation. So, on that note, that concludes our resolutions. We'll take a few-minute recess if you guys want to, exit stage. Right.
They asked if they could, and I'm like, sure, but we knew about it here from you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like I just got out of this. Yes.
That's a great thing. It is. Turn your whole screen. Oh, bad.
Okay, we can resume with the meeting. Thank you.
Continuing on with the meeting, item number 7, a resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Toms River, Ocean County, New Jersey, authorizing a tri-party agreement among the Township, the County of Ocean, and FDS Toms River LLC to permit the submission of applications for outside agency approvals in connection with the redevelopment of the Hooper Claudina redevelopment area, Block 605, lots 421, 433, 489 through 501, Block 606.01, lots 369 through 387, Block 606.02, lots 336 through 3367, 390 through 420, and Block 607, Lot 247.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Motion was made by Council Vice President Maruka, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick. Council Vice President Maruka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick. Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes.
Tonight, our consent agenda, all matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired on any item, that item will be considered separately.
Okay. Does any member of the council have any item they would like discussed or voted on separately? Does any member of the public have any item you would like further discussion on?
Seeing none, I move the balance of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Councilman Turnbach, to move the entire consent agenda. Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick. Council Vice President Maruka.
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes.
That moves us all the way up to the reports.
Move the reports into the record.
Second.
Motion made by Council Vice President Maruka, seconded by Councilman Turnbach. Council Vice President Maruka.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kopp.
Yes.
Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council President Gagan.
Yes.
Next, we have the bills.
Move the bill list.
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick. Councilman Turnbach.
Thank you. I'll abstain from PO 21-05210 payable to the magistrates. I'll abstain from PO 21-00653, 21-05079, and 21-05121, all payable to law office of Siddle, Holes, Apple, and Zabarski. I'm a local attorney in town. I have conflicts with those. Yes to the balance of the bill list.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Abstain from PO 20-00569, 21-05153, 21-05154, 21-05155, and 21-05156 payable to Remington and Vernick Engineers, and item 21-05210, line 16, only as it applies to recreation salaries. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Kopp.
I abstain from all bills payable to Owen and Little Associates, and yes to the balance.
Councilman Lotano.
I have to abstain from 21-05197, payable to Holman, Ferretta, and Allison, and 21-01486, payable to Preferred Behavioral Health. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes, I have no conflicts.
Council Vice President Maruka.
Abstain to PO 21-05054, payable to NJMVC, and PO 21-05210, Toms River payroll, item number 94, payable to NJMVC lease program. I have a conflict. Yes to the balance.
And Council President Gagan.
I have no conflicts. Yes to all.
Next up, elected officials' comments.
Councilman Roderick? Councilman Lutano?
Thank you, Council President. I just want to mention, I hope all of you saw in the news that we had a FEMA loan forgiveness. It was the clawback. This was a loan from FEMA to Toms River Township.
Not the clawback.
Oh, I'm sorry, not the
Everything
clawback.
but.
Everything but the clawback, I'm sorry. They're still working on the clawback. But the FEMA loan to Toms River, it was a $5 million loan. We have repaid $2 million. The final 3 have been forgiven. It's a great thing for our town. And there was a number of congressmen that were working on this, including Andy Kim, Frank Pallone, and Chris Smith, I believe. We're all working on it together. It was a bipartisan effort, and it's a huge thing for Ocean County and Toms River. Also, I want to talk about the Halloween parade. I know Toms River's famous for the Halloween parade, and when Halloween falls on a Sunday, they move the parade. So the parade, instead of being on Halloween, will be the day before, will be the 30th. So Trick or Treat will actually be on Halloween in Toms River this year. The parade is at 7 p.m. That's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Councilman Turnbull.
Thank you, Council President. On June 9th, 2021, at our council meeting, my political opponent in the November 2nd, 2021 general election came before this council and indicated verbatim that I promised Mr. Turnback that during this campaign, I will keep it clean and on things that are facing our town. And I was sitting right down where Councilman Kopp is sitting, and I looked him in the eye and I said, I responded back, you have my promise on that as well. So on October 1st, 2021, when many residents of this town called me to question who was putting out this disgraceful political mailer on you with pictures of Haitian immigrants at the Texas border, I knew right away that my opponent did not honor his word. I want you to think about something. The mailer has a picture of myself and Governor Murphy. It was just recently taken when Governor Murphy was here to present the Kane family with $400,000 for the completion of the Field of Dreams. Cut out of the photo is Mayor Hill, Council President Gagan, Council members Hurick and Latano, who were all doing their duty and were rightfully there to support this fantastic day for our town. It's unbelievable to me that a picture of such an important day for our town, but forget about our town, more particularly for the Kane family, is being utilized by my opponent to perpetuate lies and his own self-advancement. Many people attend our council meetings, many people look at it online. Not many people opt to get up at the time of public comment. My opponent opted to get up and make a promise he clearly did not intend to keep. Now, mind you, he's certainly under no obligation to run a fact-based, clean campaign, but he chose to get up before all of us and state that this is what he was going to do. And when I called him and confronted the fact that he did not honor his word and that I had honored mine, he indicated to me that he could not control it. To my opponent, I asked this rhetorical question. If you don't have control as the candidate, in other words, if the political party boss is already dictating to you what you're going to say and do, how can anyone ever believe that you'll have control up here on this dais? You're elected to represent the people, not the party bosses. You'll learn quick that the party bosses don't care about the residents of Toms River and sure as heck don't care about you. All they care about is the legal contracts, the money, and the power. The way this child's game is played, I'm sure the political party bosses on my side of the aisle want me to respond with a negative political mailer attacking you. But I'll never do it. I gave you my word publicly that I would not do that to you. And I'm a man of my word. And a man who represents the residents of this town and not a particular party. Political life is termed, my friend. Your word is something that either exists or does not exist forever. A political mailer costs approximately $5,000 to send out to an entire ward. $5,000 to send out a deceptive fabrication that goes from a mailbox to a garbage can. Think about the real issues in this town that could be helped with $5,000. Think about it. I've actually given considerable thought to this. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking $5,000 I've set aside for this campaign. I'm going to write a check to the Toms River Education Foundation to support extracurricular activities for our students in the wake of S2. There'll be no negative mail pieces going out against my opponent. I'm not going to judge someone that I don't even know or paint a broad brush over him and try and malign any good name he has built up. Furthermore, I respect the intelligence of our residents too much to try to scare them into voting for me or into not voting for my opponent. While my opponent wants you to believe that my actions up on this dais as a councilman have a direct impact on the Texas border, I ask you to see through the deception and focus on which candidate is addressing the issues that are important to our town. Which candidate brought in the $400,000 for the Field of Dreams? Which candidate started the Toms River Education Foundation and raised over $30,000 for our students this year? Which candidate has run the food distribution in this town for 81 consecutive weeks, start to finish? Which candidate changed the law in the state of New Jersey with regard to the opening of Code Blue shelters to protect our homeless? I've knocked on over 1,000 doors so far this election season. I can tell you that our residents are desperate for politics to change, to get back to a time when we are neighbors and Americans before we are a particular political affiliation. I intend to win this election and bring about that change. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Maruka.
Thank you, Council President. The election coming up, starting with early voting, which is starting on October 23rd. That'll be from October 23rd till October 31st. Vote by mails are out, and then there's in-person voting on November 2nd. There's a referendum on our ballot for 1 additional penny on our open space tax. We have 1.5 cents that was approved by the voters back around, I think it was in 2000. This will help preserve open space. Since I've been on this council, we've preserved over 400 acres of open space. Look where the Gold softball field is. That was an open space purchase. That we have activity there now for our youth. Freedom Park, that's right off of Cedar Grove Road. That is one of the places also. Also, a couple properties people may remember on Hooper Avenue by across from the college and by Intermediate East was potentially 350 apartments there. That was called the Jam Realty property. That was preserved with open space. You look at a piece of property around the corner from that Hooper site on Fisher. People know that as possibly the Home Depot property. That was never there. But that was preserved with open space. They were joint ventures, yes, with the county, some of them with Land for Public Trust, some of them were with Toms River schools, if they were adjacent to the schools. This is something, when you think of 1 penny and what that 1 penny can do to preserve open space in this town. We have heard it through many election cycles. Development seems to be a key issue with taxes. To be taxed 1 more penny to preserve open space, I think is a wise thing to do. And I would encourage the residents of this community, whether you're doing early voting, vote by mail, or vote on election day, to vote yes for the referendum, for that 1 penny to preserve the open space for the future of children, grandchildren, and our community. And that's all I have this evening, Council President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hurek.
So I just wanted to call attention to the resolution number 7, which is actually another step, and it's not open space, but it is providing badly needed services for our veterans. So we are going to be getting the new VA clinic in Toms River, and that's what resolution number 7 was for, so that we have an agreement to further that development in partnership with the county. So it's going to be really beneficial for the veterans because they'll have really one-stop shopping for all their county services and then their health care for right there. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew we were moving forward with that. And then speaking of Halloween weekend, Exit 82 is going to be showing the Rocky Horror Picture Show and have some live performances and party the whole weekend of Halloween. So they'll do something after the parade on Saturday night and then on Halloween itself and the Friday night. So come support our downtown businesses and see a show. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Kopp.
Thank you, Council President. So what I would like to talk about is the Ocean County Veterans Day Parade. Last year, the parade was canceled due to COVID-19. This year, it is coming back. This parade will be held on Veterans Day, which is on Thursday, November 11th, and it's in downtown Toms River. The parade begins at 9:45 at the Toms River Shopping Center on 37. It will proceed down south down Main Street, and then east onto Washington Street. This parade will feature numerous military vehicles, elected officials, first responders, along with the local high school marching band, and also have a showcase of vintage cars. The Toms River Veterans Commission would like to encourage an increased participation in this event that honors the veterans that gave so much for our country here. One big thing with this parade is there's always a unfortunate low turnout, and one thing we're asking for is a high turnout. Last year we didn't have this parade. It's something that's very meaningful to me, and I would love to see an increased participation. It doesn't mean just, if you're a veteran or you're part of a veteran organization, please walk in the parade. There's going to be vintage cars there, and I'm sure that our older veterans that might not be able to make the walk anymore, I'm sure that we have some people that are going to be driving these cars that can help them out. If you are capable of walking, we would love for you to walk. It's an honorable thing. It's great. 2 years ago, we had the high school that lined the streets. It was very, very memorable, and it's very, very meaningful to our veterans that we see that increased participation. If you have any questions regarding it, please feel free to reach out to me. We have information on our township website on how you can participate also. If the website gets you a little confused on where to go, please send me an email directly, and I'll make sure to get you in touch with the right people to help you participate in this parade. Other than that, I hope to see you at the parade, like November 11th, and you'll hear me talk about it again at the next council meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you. Again, I would just like to reiterate what Councilwoman Maruka had said about the open space. It really is extremely important. I know we've heard it over and over again. For some of us natives, since '65, we've seen a lot of development. I wish it stopped long ago, but it's people's land and they sell it to who they see fit. And we would like to be the buyers of that purchase, even though it would have been much cheaper decades ago. It's the money we have in that open space account, I believe we've used wisely, partnering up with the county and in some cases the school system to increase the property we can buy. As Councilman Kopp had said, look forward to seeing as many people as possible on Thursday, November 11th. It's the least we can do for our veterans. It's why we enjoy the freedoms that we have today. I know I'll certainly be there, and I participated in previous Veterans Day parades. And the last thing, with the loan forgiveness, I know there's still a lot of residents out there. I know people get tired of hearing us talk about Hurricane Sandy, Superstorm Sandy. For many people, Superstorm Sandy ended when their power came back on. Here it is 9 years later, we're still dealing with the federal bureaucracy and making our way through it. Residents also are doing that. Some people have walked away from their homes, then it's become a code enforcement issue for the town. I can say as a first responder, all these raised homes, carrying people out of houses is different now. On the fire side, it's an extra 50-lane, set of hose on our pre-connect. So it changed everybody's lives. And for the residents that are on the Stop FEMA groups and things like that, they're still suffering 9 years later. And this is a monumental step, and hopefully our residents also we'll see some assistance from the federal government after they use the FEMA-approved contractors that have just up and left with their monies, and the same, again, bureaucracy we've had to deal with, they have as well. So hopefully we haven't forgotten you, and we're trying to move ahead. On that note, Mayor Hill.
Thank you, Council President. A couple of other events that will be going on at downtown Toms River. This Saturday is the Harvest Arts Festival, and also the Scarecrow Walk will start on the 13th. That'll go through till Halloween, October 31st. I want to congratulate our Eagle Scouts, and also I want to congratulate Toms River North graduate Maria Ressa, who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Maria graduated Toms River North in 1982. She was the class president for 3 years. She participated in chorus, orchestra, and theater, and played basketball and softball. She was voted most likely to succeed. I think she did, we can say that. She credited her teachers and her AP classes at Toms River North for preparing her for her college at Princeton, where she graduated in 1986. After graduating Princeton, she returned to her native Philippines, where she co-founded Rappler, a digital media group for investigative journalism. She serves as their CEO and was recently awarded their Nobel Peace Prize. So congratulations to Maria. I think it speaks highly of the school system that we have in this town, and many people, that's the reason they moved to Toms River, is because of the school system. Also like to highlight the fact that a week ago, when we were notified by Congressman Kim that the balance of our FEMA Community Disaster Loan, or what's known as the CDL, would be forgiven. This represents savings to the taxpayer, as Matt said, of about $3 million. We started these discussions with Congressman Kim in the spring of 2020. When we were informed that our appeals, and we had multiple appeals to FEMA for relief from the loans, were denied. This was a bipartisan effort by our New Jersey congressional delegation, Congressman Frank Pallone, Chris Smith, Andy Kim, and Jeff Van Drew. And I want to thank them for their efforts, and also the members of the council who participated. I'd also like to highlight the 1% increase for the open space tax. We have heard, and everybody on this who's run for office has heard over and over again, stop development, too much development, overdevelopment. As I've said in the past, most of that is due to the COA units that are mandated by the state. However, right now, we have about $300,000 in the open space account, which will not allow us to bond for very much. If the residents pass this 1 cent tax, we're going to be able to use that for about $16.5 million in bonds, which will allow us to buy a lot of open land. We have several large parcels in this town that are ripe for development, and if we want to prevent that, and we truly want to prevent overdevelopment, then the residents need to come out and support this 1 cent tax. I can't emphasize that enough. Without the 1 cent tax, our hands are tied until 2023, 2024, when the bonds we had from the original open space tax will be paid off. And as Maria highlighted, a lot of these spots are around town. The girls' softball field was the Epstein-Frankenberg property. The property on the corner of Todd Road and Old Freehold Road, that's 24 acres there, that has a berm on it that's been prevented from overdevelopment. I could not imagine another street cutting onto Old Freehold Road with all the development out there. You can't make a left now on Todd Road. So just imagine if you had another housing development across the street. It would be impossible to move. As we know, Route 9, the state has ignored that for years, for decades. They should have improved it when they did the widening in Monmouth County. It ends at the Ocean-Monmouth County border. I know of no state road that connects 2 towns as large as we have in Ocean County between Lakewood and Toms River with just a 2-lane highway. And if you add Brick into that on 88, again, you have another 2-lane highway connecting 80,000 people with 100,000 in Lakewood. We have very few 4-lane state highways in New Jersey, in Ocean County, and most of them lead from the Parkway to the beachfront. So we need this to prevent any further overdevelopment. Otherwise, you won't be able to drive your car at all in town. We already know the problems we have on Route 9. So please, I can't emphasize enough that please come out and support and vote yes on the bond issue for 1 cent increase in open space tax. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor. This time I'll open the floor to public comment. Does any member of the public wish to be heard? Ms. Tormoli. Good evening.
Dana Tormolin, 105 Messenger Street. I'm going to make it really quick. After a year of getting to know Councilman Turnbuck and his family, he has proven that there are politicians who still lead by example. I've written you all and shared my feelings regarding certain candidates. While people continue to seek a council seat, their time and their monies may be better used following his lead. But it seems as though their lack of action speak greater and louder than their excuse the term, trashy flyers. If you want to be a part of the governing body, you should start to learn by example. I, for one, am over it. And I have let you all know that our neighborhood, which is Ward 4, is watching closely. And your candidate right now, I don't see him. He's been to 1 meeting since the primaries, am I right? Michelle Williams here every time. She too is running for a seat against another man in this town who showed up once. You all, for the most part, are out there doing your thing and you're showing your face and we appreciate it. People who want to follow in your footsteps or sit in your seats may seriously want to consider doing the same because it's very disturbing and it's very unbecoming of this town and this council. So please consider it next time you feel like sending something in the mail. Thank you.
Thank you. Is any other member? Yes, sir. You on the blue shirt.
How you doing, Council Mayor? My name is Philip Stanicki. I reside at 8 Sky Harbor Court, Toms River, New Jersey. And real quick, I'm an ex-drug addict, alcoholic, criminal, blah, blah, blah. I moved to Toms River 12 years ago. Got involved in an IOP, some mental counseling. Got involved with volunteering. I had open heart surgery. I got more into volunteering because I couldn't work no more. And through this council, Terrence Turnbuck, Mo Hill, thank you, Terrence, thank you, Maria, Lori. Without them people, I wouldn't be here standing here. I'd probably still be outside somewhere up North Jersey doing drugs. I volunteer for Just Believe. I'm a facilitator for the Code Blue that you guys help so much with the building. I stay there 24 hours, and sometimes Terrence. I see Maria come, Lori come, Mo come, delivering stuff. I don't see nobody else on this council, but you people saved my life. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if there was more people in this county or this town like you guys, we wouldn't have no problems. We'd be like, be heaven, number 2 heaven. So I want to thank y'all for giving your heart, your love, your sweat, and tears. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wish to be heard? Sir.
Good evening, Richard Chulo, 215 Grant Avenue in Seaside Heights. Sorry I broke the microphone. I've stood before you plenty of occasions prior to this. I challenged each of you at a meeting maybe 2 or 3 months ago. I believe that the vote that was taken in March to enter into a consent decree with the Department of Justice was perhaps the most consequential vote that you've cast this year to date. Now, some may disagree with that, but I don't think many would, only because of the potential liability. The last time I was here before the governing body, I came back, and I'm sure many of you recall a rather animated exchange that I had with Mr. Roderick when I asked him if he could explain how it was that casting a no vote at the time of the vote to enter into the consent decree and then a no vote at the time to adjust the zoning to reflect the needs of the consent decree and to accommodate the Department of Justice. It became a shouting match. Part of that was because Dan wanted some answers from me. So I've come here tonight, Mr. Roderick, to answer your questions, and I'm going to ask you to answer mine. You asked me where I live. I live in Seaside Heights.
If you would, sir, just direct all
Sure.
Comments to the chair. Thank you.
I was asked where I live. I live in Seaside Heights. I was asked why I attend meetings in Toms River and Brick and Jackson and Howell. Over the last 3 months, I've attended meetings in 18 different municipalities in Ocean County. I attend planning board meetings, zoning board meetings, council meetings, committee meetings. Unlike, forgive me, politicians who argue that they're fighting to stop overdevelopment, I'm actually doing that. I review applications. I challenge under cross-examination the experts that are put forward by applicants for either a development or a zoning change. If I believe that it's inappropriate, it doesn't properly reflect the community, I'm there to argue the case on behalf of the residents. Sorry, I'm not really nervous. I'm a little short on sugar right now. And for those reasons, that's why I'm all over Ocean County, particularly in Toms River and Jackson, because you were confronted with RLUIPA lawsuits, Religious Land Use Institutionalized Persons Act. The night that you cast that vote for the consent decree, the night that you cast the vote to adjust your zoning, Mr. Merlino, I can't ask you to say yes or no to this, but aside from Marcy Hamilton, and perhaps Mr. Merlino, because of the learning experience that you had in the negotiation process with the Department of Justice, I would submit to you that the person who had the third most knowledge regarding Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act is standing at this microphone right now. And in all candor, Dan, I have forgotten more about RLUIPA than you will ever know. So with those things said, I'm going to redirect my question. I'm going to ask if you could please explain to everybody from Toms River how it was that your no vote on those two circumstances benefited the residents of Toms River.
It's up to you whether you choose to. It's up to you whether you choose to.
And again, I'm going to remind you, I preface this by saying I believe the single most consequential vote that all of you cast in 2021. So I apologize for interrupting.
I've already explained my vote to the people of Toms River. That's my answer.
Could you possibly guide me to where that is? Is it on a website? Is it in campaign literature? Did it appear in a news article? I've not seen anything. And I'm standing before you now. Take 2 minutes and explain to everybody in this room why your no vote benefited the residents of Toms River.
I've explained my vote to everyone.
Okay, it appears that's going to be the best answer I'm going to get.
That is the best answer you're going to get.
Yes, sir.
All right, so then that does actually give me an opportunity to ask one other question, and it has to do with a press release that was sent to residents of Greenbrier and Lake Ridge regarding the fire hydrant reimbursement. And as I read the press release, it appears that Councilman Roddick may have misrepresented some facts, and the fire district felt it was necessary to address those concerns. One of the issues that he raised apparently was the possibility that somehow or other something improper happened with a meeting with the town council. Would anybody care to comment on that?
I know that was raised. I don't know what he was discussing.
Are you familiar with the press release that was issued?
Yes, I am.
Would you concur with the press release that was issued from the fire district in terms of its recollection of what transpired with the council?
From the fire district, yes, the press release was truthful and accurate.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Does any other member of the public wish to be heard?
Seeing none, move to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to go into executive?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances to discuss matters requiring confidentiality and/or of a privileged nature. And whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey as follows. The Township Council will now conduct a private executive session General nature of the subject matter to be discussed and or acted upon is as follows. Attorney-client privilege communications, contract negotiations, and personnel matters. Following specific items to be discussed or acted upon are as follows. The executive session minutes review of September 14th. Personnel issues of the Township Clerk's Office. Attorney-client privilege matters, contract negotiations of the review, and right-of-way access agreement for 5G installation. It was voted to go into executive session by Council Vice President Maria Maruca, seconded by Councilwoman Yorick at 6:50 p.m. Makes me crazy.
I have to wait for them, you don't have to. You can kind of hang stand if you want.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to go back into public session? All in favor? Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes of September 14th, 2021? All in favor? Oh, I need a roll call. I always do that. Motion made by Councilman Turnbuck, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick. Councilman Turnbuck.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick. Yes. Councilman Kopp. Yes. Councilman Lotano.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick. Council Vice President Maruka. Yes. Council President Gagan.
Yes.
And a motion to adjourn. All in favor? At 7:07. 7:07. Thank you, everyone.